Now I'd like to bring up Peter Barcelona from our health department, one of our full-time employees for 30 years. Peter coordinates our food pantry efforts, so come on over, Peter. And tell me, how amazed are you that we were able to raise $102,000 in barely 6 weeks?
Totally blown away as we had our conversation 6 weeks ago. We thought, well, we would just help our pantries a little bit at this point, and obviously we've certainly surpassed any fundraising that we've had for We Feed Woodbridge. But, you know, I have to give the credit to the mayor and the town council, the town administration for, promoting We Feed out there and putting We Feed in the forefront of those in the community, because whether it was a $10 donation or a $10,000 donation, the $100,000 plus will feed a lot of people. Use gift cards. Gift cards will be used to allow them to buy perishables or those that are on special dietary needs. It goes on and on and on and on. In our pantries, this particular pantry probably has seen an increase of close to 50% increase.
Oh, really? Close to 50?
Percent. Most of our pantries now are experiencing anywhere between 35 and 50%. I just spoke with Pastor Lou up on Ridgedale Avenue. Just this past Sunday, they had 33 clients that came to their food pantry. Generally, they would see about 15 on a Sunday.
Oh, wow.
So the need is there. Again, we're always here 365 days a year. Our pantries are open. I'm fortunate to have this, to do what I do, to meet those that are in need and to help out those that are in need. But like I said, the mayor and the council. Also, I send a shout out to the Rotary Club, to Ray and Jeff Zerpola, who actually made in-kind donations to Dominic restaurants. 2 weeks ago, we delivered 120 meals to the homebound elderly and our food pantry clients. And just this past week, the council and myself, we delivered foods again Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to the homebound elderly and those here in our food pantry, which is a wonderful thing, because to get a hot meal. And
you wouldn't believe how many calls we get
Absolutely.
of people saying thanks for the hot meal because they saw one of our council people delivering it.
And plus, it's fellowship. They get to see somebody. It's contact with somebody who's shut in at that point. So actually, it's a twofold. We check in on somebody, and at the same time, you're providing a hot meal. So it's a simple. And also, it employs the employees at Dominic's restaurant, so he's able to keep his employees working as well.
So you help. It's the help of a business and a resident at the same time.
Absolutely. Yep. It's all around. It's a great effort, and we thank the Rotary Club and Jeff and Ray Sapola for those donations. And I believe we're going to do it again, not next week, but the following week again.
They are going to.
Yeah.
So the money you collect, we talk about this all the time with the We Feed. We make the rounds at every school. We talk about it over and over again. But just say it again, when the money comes in, the one thing we can collect in food is non-perishables, but everybody needs perishables. So talk about how that works.
Yeah, correct. I mean, we are getting some perishables in and some produce in. We're working with Brookside Farms in Rahway. We work with McFoods in the county out in East Brunswick. Farmers Against Hunger, we're getting produce in from there. We get produce in from the Community Food Bank at Hillside now on a pretty weekly basis. But the monies that we raised, most of our pantries obviously collect non-perishables, but the monies that we raise allows our pantries to go to the Community Food Bank at Hillside and to buy meats and dairy and perishable foods that generally we would not get at that point. And it also, like I said, provides gift cards for those with special dietary needs, whether they be gluten-free or diabetic. So it gives us an option for them to have an option to purchase what they actually need at that point. So,
and we talk about, you mentioned just before as we were walking around, Wegmans, ShopRite, constant donors to us with leftover food before it goes bad.
Correct. The kitchen here is loaded with produce right now. We have a little produce market here at St. James. In the corner, there's boxes of they're banana boxes, but they're not filled with bananas. That actually comes from ShopRite, of the people that are dropping food at the doorways of ShopRite and Wegmans. That food is brought to us on a weekly basis from ShopRite, Wegmans. We do partner with Stop and Shop in Edison for bakery items. So it's a network of just within the community and outside the community else, actually. Yep.
And back in the beginning of the pandemic, when a lot of restaurants realized they weren't going to stay open, a lot just gave us their leftover food. Even the cafe, our cafe in Port Reading, and our community center and our club, they all shut down their operations, and you got to get rid of that stuff or it's going to go bad, so the pantries get the benefit of it.
Yeah, we partnered with a lot of the restaurants, Ariana's, Touch Italy, the community center, the cafe at the community center, Mayor Max Grill. I'm trying to think off the top of my head back then, but anybody that had leftover produce or even beef or things like that, were packaged. We actually gave it out at that point, which was great. So, yep. So,
well, you thank everybody else, but you're the guy that's the glue in this whole effort. I call you the middleman. Usually, you don't want to ever deal with a middleman, except when there's food pantries, because you get the donees and the donors together. You know, you're the one that gets everything from the people who give the food, give the money, and you make sure it gets to the donees, and that's using the whole network of pantries and
absolutely.
Avondale Press and Island and St. Cecilia's and St. James and all the different
Absolutely.
Heaven's Helper right on the wall 11, but you do.
Yep.
But I mean, they're all doing an amazing job.
Yep.
These volunteers of
Right now,
working.
I would give kudos to the volunteers because this particular pantry, a lot of our pantries are generally are manned by older people, so most of them took a back seat during the pandemic. But
Right.
more people, as you know, stepped up to fill in the gap here for our pantries. So we've taken on a great deal of new volunteers, and we also take pantries from the county as well. The county has a network of volunteers that we tap into as well. So
I'm glad you mentioned it because when we made one outreach in one of the very earliest announcements that we do every day about Meals on Wheels, they were short 33 drivers that are, like you say, elderly, and their spouses and their kids and their grandkids say, Grandpa, Grandma, you can't do that anymore. You're taking too much risk. Please don't do that. Stay home. So they did, and that left a shortage. And literally one announcement on the daily call, and they were flooded with volunteers.
yeah, my phone was inundated with calls as well for volunteers, and then we plugged those volunteers directly to the food pantries. So like Peggy here, her pantry, you know, whatever she was down, she was able to plug in those numbers, and then and more. So, which is great. And then, you know, hopefully after the pandemic is over, we'll be able to have that another whole base of volunteers as well to tap
Right.
into.
So
at
it's
that point.
dollars, it's actual food, and it's manpower.
You got it.
And then when I say, like, I am not kidding when I tell you that I talk to all the mayors on the calls. Every week there's a call with the state, with 3 counties. I think it's Mercer, Monmouth, and Middlesex. And every week there's a call with the mayors and administrators in the county. And you listen to what people talk about, and nobody has the network of people like we have in Woodbridge. Nobody has the volunteers. They're all saying what they're struggling with and things we just take for granted because so many people do so many things. We don't even think about the things that these other mayors have to think about.
And also you have to take into consideration too, I mean, Chartwell, the lunch program at the schools.
Yeah, that's another good one, yeah.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the buses drop off here as a drop-off location. Those lunches are bagged, and then our senior transportation drivers take those to the 6 senior buildings.
That's another group, the
So
senior
they get,
drivers. Yep,
they get
yep.
breakfast, lunch. They get breakfast and lunch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at that point, which is the overflow of the school lunches that are not being picked up at the bus stop. So we
Right.
also, since day one, we worked with Mark Sinelli to devise a plan real quick on the seat, flying by the seat of our pants. How do we get these lunches to the people that need them? And so for all
worked.
these weeks, it worked. So
Yep.
it's, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
ladies and gentlemen, when we say we're the best town around, like I said in the opening address today, it really is true. There are so many people in this town that do so many great things above and beyond what they have to with their money, with their efforts, with their everything. It's just terrific to be the mayor of this town with people like Peter Barcelona, who are out there all the time, you know, going above and beyond, putting hours in way above his 35 or 40 a week that he normally would do. It's just terrific. So thank everybody for the food drive. I said early on, I thought the biggest risk we had was food.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Absolutely.
the one thing, and more people, 40 million people unemployed, and the numbers in New Jersey are worse than the national average. So we thought that food would be the problem, so we did the drive, and it sure paid off, and the people in Woodbridge are very lucky to have people like Peter, and they're lucky to live in a town with people who do so much for others. So thank you, Peter. Thank you all for watching.
Thanks.